right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session of the 2025 Northwest Interlibrary Loan and Resource Sharing Conference. Today's date is September 10th, 2025. This session is titled Enhancing Resource Sharing with the IDS Project, Tools, Services, and Community Support, and will be presented by Kristen Heinrich, Resource Sharing Librarian at Purchase College, and Logan Rath, who is Director of Online Learning for the IDS Project. My name is Robin Weissman, and I'm the convener for this session. Please let us know if you can't hear or can't see the shared screen. This session is being recorded with permission from the presenters. We plan to make these recordings available once captions have been added. Expect an email from Whova when the recordings have been posted, about 3 weeks after the conference. We'll take questions at the end of the session from the room and from virtual attendees on Whova. Our virtual colleagues should post questions on the Whova Q&A tab, and don't forget to upvote your favorites. After the session, please complete the survey to enter our prize drawing, which is open to all attendees. If anyone in the room is logged into Whova, please remember not to start this presentation on your device. And now I will turn the session over to our presenters.
Hi, everyone. I will be calm by slide 3. Logan is the louder one, and I'm not. So we're going to just talk to you about the enhanced resources through the IDS Network, what works for us, how it can assist you. We're going to give you a rundown of a little bit of the history of everything first. The IDS Project is a consortial academic and public and research libraries committed to transforming resource sharing. It began in New York and has since been has since grown across the nation all the way to Hawaii. It is members collaborate to develop innovative tools like IDS Logic, share best practices, and improve workflows. The project was built on a strong sense of community throughout programs like the Peer Advisor Program, events like the annual IDS conference that I am the director of, members that help each other solve problems, adopt new technologies, and streamline operations. Ultimately, the IDS project is about not about moving books, but and articles. It's about creating a network. Hence our new name.
Yes, so
the IDS Network.
And our new polos came in like last week,
right before we left,
but there was enough time to throw them in the laundry.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are, and Kristen and I are not employees of the IDS Network. We're not here in capacity to convince you all to join us or anything. We just want to talk about the things we've been able to do as volunteers who have a shared purpose, right? Let's make our lives easier. So here's our agenda, talk a little bit about the history of the network, the tools and services that we've developed and shared out, our community support, a lot of which is free and open to the entire resource sharing community, and then where we hope to go. So there's the what we are that Kristen just talked about.
Sorry, it's a little cut off.
And now the history. So way back in 2003 at SUNY Geneseo, and I was actually an undergrad at the institution at the time, the directors of our comprehensive colleges, is what it's called, got together. Those were our, not our doctoral granting institutions, but like your bachelors with some masters. They got together and they were like, shipping is weird. We're all spending money. We're not coordinating what we're doing. Budgets are not great, even back then. So what the heck can we do to figure out how to work together with the 14 of us just in New York? And then things exploded. Other people found out what we were doing and were like, I want to play that game. So the mission of the project is to improve resource sharing through collaboration and innovation. There's now over 120 member libraries worldwide. We do tend to have a few set of tools. These are the things that some are open, most are not. IDS Logic, you'll hear a lot about that. That came out of us. That's just a back-end thing for Iliad that makes a lot of automation happen. We've got Article Gateway, which helps with finding articles and figuring out where you can get it from. Alias, which looks at licenses, and IDS Search, which was like a union catalog of member libraries, all built on volunteer time, sweat, and a lot of beer and pizza. And a lot of 2 a.m. coding, right? With just volunteers that came together. For community support, we have regional user groups where we bring people together. We have an online learning institute that I run that we most recently just did an Iliad web pages course, and we made that completely open to anyone who wanted to join. And then we have an annual conference, which anyone is welcome to come to, member or not.
We will also be running the website course this winter.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that.
It's a big deal. Y'all seem to want to do that as a community, like get together and talk with each other about web page updates. And, we're here for that. And then it's cut off here, but our project has won. When it was the project, it's won quite a few awards. Okay. Our full mission statement that's up there. Okay, and our admin team. So this is the entire group. This is our group of key volunteers. 2 of them are actually paid by Geneseo. The rest of us donate our time. So I'm sure most of you have heard or met Mark Sullivan. Jess is his executive assistant. Jennifer Acker is the manager. She's really the get everything done and track it and
keep on top of us.
We could not volunteer really well in our group if we did not have a Jennifer. So if you are thinking of establishing a collaborative group of friends to do ILL stuff, find someone who likes to poke people and say, hey, we said we were going to do this by this date. Did we? Then we have Kristen. We have Rachel, who manages our peer advisors, Andromeda, who's our developer. Actually, they're on payroll too, but through Geneseo, not through the project. And then I left the resource sharing world, but I wasn't allowed to leave. So I'm an instruction librarian now, but I did run ILL at my university for 3 years, got really involved with the project level of it. And as an instruction librarian, I help design professional developments online for ILL. Okay, our tools and services. So IDS Logic, this is an automation tool within the network that streamlines interlibrary loan workflows. This came about because we as volunteers were sitting there and kvetching about having to click the same button a bunch of times. And then someone's like, I can write something that will click the button for you. And we all said, yes, you're not leaving this table till it's written. And so Mike Mulligan was the first coder of Logic. And it really does a lot of things. So much so that we often refer to Logic as our coworker.
Yes, I like to call it the little gnomes in the back.
Right? It literally just like things go into queues and then they come out of queues. And sometimes those queues clean things up. Sometimes those queues figure out which libraries own the thing. Sometimes those queues figure out if we own the thing and, we just missed that. It adds flags to requests. I mean, what's your favorite thing that it does for you?
Just sends things when we're not there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like we got tired of having to click the copyright button. And so we just, it does that for us now, which is really nice. And there are a bunch of rules in the background, and the setup is like, you don't get to set it up yourself. You have to work with us and a couple of our developer people, because it's one of those things that if the space is in the wrong place, your whole system goes kaplooey. I don't know if any of you have ever crashed a university web server with a space before, but it's not a fun time when that happens. And then you're sitting there and the barometer just keeps going up and you're like, that's not good. What should we do? Oh, okay. So we decided, that would be a mediated update. Alias, another thing that we developed. It stands for Article License Information Availability Services. And if Kristen hadn't put it on the slide, I would not have been able to tell you. But it is a tool that helps libraries quickly determine article licensing and access rights. It will go through and say, yes, you can lend this. No, you can't. And it just really helps. And it integrates with a backend database that we developed. And we recruited a bunch of volunteers when we first got this going. And we're talking a couple thousand rows on a website. And we would just divide it up and beg, and the community would help out. And then we would have this automated licensing piece. So it definitely reduces delays, helps things go faster. Okay. And this is, the diagram of how it works. So the patron puts a request in, that request dumps into Iliad, and then the module takes over and queries it based on the ISSN and date, looks at our database. The library codes for valid dates and licensing, whatever the library has set up. And then it either goes into direct request if it can, and if not, it dumps it into a manual queue. And it just speeds things up. I remember when we turned it on, it was that old. And all of a sudden, my Monday mornings went from, what am I walking into, to, oh, I can drink my coffee. Still a lot of fun stuff, but now I was more processing the fun stuff rather than like clicking the same button a bunch of times.
So, open to everyone, not just IDS members, we have client add-ons. We have our own folder, right? It actually is still called the IDS Project. We looked it up today, in the Atlas Add-ons Network. These are optional tools that you can add to help automate your stuff and make it more functional. It has examples of them, advanced reporting capabilities, additional information of automation, integration with third-party systems like OCLC and ILS platforms. It provides flexibility. It allows you to adapt to the network environment to best support each of your workflows. So there are a series of them in there now, and you are allowed to download them. You do not have to be an IDS member. We do ask you to go check them out and see if they will assist you, but it really does, they drastically help. And when they're down, and you go, what's going on? Or if they're, and when they're updated through there and everything. So if there's a new version of it out, we make sure that it's immediately changed out.
Yeah, and again, this came from the libraries we work with saying, what could be helpful? What do they need? Like one of the things, I coded one that was a Barnes & Noble lookup to help us identify textbooks, because Barnes & Noble was our bookstore. And I sit there going like, well, we know the ISBN because the students paste that into the box, right? When they submit their request, asking us to get their textbooks. And so we can take that or the title and throw it at the Barnes & Noble search box and have it pop up. And so I remember it was like 3:45 on a Friday when I got this thing working. And I called up a colleague at the Rochester Institute of Technology, and she was not there. And then I called a colleague at another university, not there. I finally got someone, and I was like, can you click this button? And it was like one of the best things that no one ever celebrated because it was Friday, right? And then I learned like, I'm using that and I'm using that. Another one we had at one point, I think it's still up there, is one called OneSearch. I got really annoyed at how long it was taking to load the 7 different search ones I had. And I'm like, I am going to cram these into one add-on if it murders me. And I did. It set it up so that I could just hit a different search button and it all worked in the same window. And then my Iliad client would open in, a few seconds instead of like 45, because it was waiting to load every add-on for every request.
So the IDS network is built on community support. And there are different ways that we have this. One is our peer advisor program. I am a peer advisor for multiple libraries, counting the head of the peer advisor program. She's in Vermont and I am her peer advisor. I what we do is we are there for you to be like, help me, when you don't want to put it out on a listserv and you want an immediate answer, or you just want somebody to talk you through something. And a lot of our lives in ILL is based on communication with each other. We can't figure out these things on our own. That's why we have a community. So I work very closely with the library, which is actually across the street, another college from mine. And they had a previous ILL person who was there for 25 years, bless her heart, but she did not grow with the technology. So when Catherine took over, she was in dire need of assistance. And I said, I'm here to be your friend and to assist you in everything that I can help. And we still, like, I talked to her today, she sent me an email. So it's based on the assistance of others, because even like I am a peer advisor, Jen Acker, she's the manager. I will bounce things off of her almost daily, just because I could be wrong and it could totally screw up a whole system. One little click. So it's one of those things we like to double check beforehand. So what we do is a library becomes an onboarded member and they're assigned a peer advisor. And instead of having to reach out to Mark or somebody or Andromeda for information, they'll first reach out to their peer advisor. We'll help with workflow, we'll help with custom holdings, we'll show them how to set up ARM and all that stuff. And when I tell you the relief that Catherine had, we sat for weeks and met multiple times just to get her systems going. It was she was just crazed on how much she was missing out on because her systems were so far behind, her custom holdings were so far behind and everything. So it really is just talking through, figuring out, collaborating together and building relationships through mentoring.
Yeah, and we're a whole group of people. Now, we are not the be all end all of tech support. I don't want that. We have that conversation all the time.
Side. I'm the other side.
Right. The number of times, even for workflow, the number of times we'll see something and we're like, you need to pick up the phone and dial 1-800-848-5800, push 1 and then option 1. Anyone know whose number that is off the top of their head?
It's the help desk.
It's OCLC.
It's help desk.
Right? We're like, you have to call them. They're the ones that can do this. But sometimes it is the conversation about helping libraries know, like, you've got support for that. Here's how to ask that question. It's as simple as, you want to do a bulk delete and maybe the database manager scares you, and it should. It is a very, very scary tool.
Very dangerous.
You can ask for a script to be run, and then that script can run overnight. And there's someone sitting in Dublin who's paid to, if it goes kaplooey, fix it, right? And then you don't have to sit there and just hope. That's what we're paying for. And so we do encourage our people to work with their vendors. Now, we do have the power of being a nice collaborative group, so that if you are having issues or you didn't ask a question the way that we thought the vendor would help, we do have conversations with the vendors as needed. I know with Reprint's desk, we've had conversations with Tony from the project standpoint saying like, hey, what would y'all think about this? and generally all the vendors stare at us because you can tell they're very excited for the enhancements we've asked for. But we really all do work together. We also have a lot of the peer advisor stuff you'll see come out through the workflow toolkit list, which is open to everyone. You'll see questions go there because we will encourage people to put that out on the listserv at times. We'll say that's something that we need to figure out. Does anybody done anything with that? And then someone from some library we haven't heard of will send a message off list saying, oh, I handled that this way. And then we'll be in an admin meeting and we'll be like, that was a lot easier than we made it out to be. So by working together, things just go better.
So FAQ by topic. This is open to everyone. Again, it is through our website, which actually Logan, myself, and Heidi just redid. It is now a LibGuide that is able to be updated a lot easier than a website that was on a server. And this is I don't want to ask a peer advisor. I don't want to put it on a listserv. Let me see if there's something somewhere. It's broken down by topics such as policy directory, logic, ILLiad, document delivery. All the information is tagged inside, so you could just throw a word into the search and you'll see everything related to it. We are working on getting the outdated ones updated. It is peer advisors who are doing it. So we're doing it as we can, but it's just a collection of information of frequently asked questions. And as we grow and as our systems grow, we are adding more. We didn't have ALMA information prior. We're adding ALMA information. Questions come out of our conference, we add them there. It's just a database of information to assist us all without having to ask questions. Just how do I print this? How do I set my custom holdings? That kind of information is all just right there.
Yeah, so I was around, we used to call them peer mentors, and I was a mentor before the electronic version of the workflow toolkit, back when it was a print binder.
Free ring binder, this thick.
Yeah, and we would literally email people a PDF, right?
I still have mine too.
Now, the real secret, and this is me telling tales out of school, is much of that binder was created by new mentors being told what they had to develop for the binder the night before it was needed. So I remember showing up and I was going to be a tech advisor. So like the servers and how that works. And then Mark Sullivan says, you're going to write up documentation for how document delivery works in ILLiad. And I looked at him, I'm like, I'm what? Document what? And, I was working with someone else. I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. And then I snuck into the front of that binder, I don't know what I'm doing. What are the answers to the questions OCLC support is going to ask me page? So it had the number at the top and it had your server, it had you write down your IP addresses, it had you answer the question, are you hosted? Just so that when you're calling for support, you don't have to think of those things. And that was very useful, people said.
So another area is our annual summer conference. It is held usually the last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in July. We kind of rolled into August this year, which was kind of cool. I am the director of conference. This year we were set to be in person at SUNY Geneseo, and due to no air conditioning in the dorms and our age of older adults, that was not going to work. And we're very lucky because it was 95 degrees the day of the conference. So that was perfect. So what this is and what we did this year is it's a full shared innovation coming together, presentations. This year on Wednesday, instead of having group meetings and other things, we actually started a collaboration sessions. I hope some of you were there. And if not, we will be holding them again. More information to come. And we had 500, we switched it to an online virtual model. And we had 524 registrants this year. And thank you for coming if you came. And I hope you enjoyed it. The first day had 4 different collaborative working sessions in breakout rooms. Too bad Kurt's not here because he was a very leader of the pack when it came to these, and we're very grateful. And it was just people bouncing information off of each other. Not being able to be in person with that many people, it was just amazing. The information that came out of it, the webpage course was built the next day after Logan led the webpage group. And it was amazing to hear everyone assist everyone. And again, it is what we're built on. So this winter, we are planning, I believe in January, to hold an additional set of collaborative working groups. They will be open to everyone. The information for registration will be sent out to the listservs, Workflow and IDS, as well as posted on our website. And we are going to do the same thing, pretty much, unless there's other topics. Please let us know that you would like to do. Workflow, IDS Logic. We had
web
page
pages.
and just like a generic one.
Yeah.
So it was great because I learned information I never even thought about just by listening to everyone talk and ask questions and bounce information off of each other.
Yeah, no, I tried to say let's have that in the snowiest part of New York in person, and I got overruled.
Not happening.
No.
I'll take Hawaii.
Right? We keep joking. One of our members is Hawaii, and we do keep joking that we need to have an IDS project conference in Hawaii. But then we look at the cost of flights and library budgets and go back to sleep and keep dreaming.
So there's some previous ones. The group
I had
photo
hair
was
in that
actually, yeah, I put Logan on there. The group picture was actually our 20th anniversary of the project, and we had a photo booth. So Tom Bruno's even made it to there. And then the other ones are the older original conferences, still as working groups.
Yeah.
And,
So
and Logan in the bottom right.
bottom right, that's where we were at the Rochester. I'm looking at that picture and I was like, I was young then. I had hair, I had less belly. Like I hadn't fallen down and had an eye infection.
Yeah.
There's a running joke called "What will happen to Logan the week before the conference?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. We made it here. I'm very
Yeah.
proud of him. We made it across the country together.
Jen has threatened me,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
to just come at me with bubble wrap.
You're not allowed to travel. You're not allowed to scuba dive. You're not allowed to do anything.
Yeah. Okay. So the Online Learning Institute, this is one of the things that I inherited from Mikkel Little, and we've tried to keep it up. So it is basically online professional development that is asynchronous. Sometimes there are single workshops that are synchronous, but then we save the recordings and we archive those and we make those available. We do tend to run courses through a free version of Canvas, which we are talking about getting an actual learning management system because the free version has so little space. But we can put things up there and make them freely available for people to go through. I take my education knowledge and say, okay, let's figure out how to make this information in a useful way for people so that when you do the IDS web pages course, it's not a course where you just submit your pages with some options and then we do it for you. It is we're going to walk you through all the pieces that you may not even know you need to know about in order to be prepared. We have pieces in there where we're like, if you are hosted and have remote auth turned on, you have to call OCLC and ask for this specifically to get test web working because they have to set it up a different way. You probably have a test web folder and it just doesn't work because it's stuck behind like your easy proxy or your single sign-on. But they can set up a different test web that you can edit. We walk through how to inventory your pages. We are working on adding a gallery of customization so you can see what other people have done. That's the biggest one we've done. We also have taken from Rusa Stars the ILL 101 course kind of, and we run those as a set of synchronous sessions where there's borrowing 101, lending 101, copyright 101, and admin 101. Like customization manager stuff 101. And then we had a request for like the 501 version of that, the grad level version, if you will. And so we've put that together in the past. We are always open to new ideas, and most of the stuff we try to make freely accessible to the world. And a lot of it's based on the grace of y'all in the community who just offer your time. We just did a searching for returnables. We have to do a part 2 of searching, still TBD. But I just put out a call on ILL-L and someone reached out and said, I actually need to do something like this. My director wants me to do some sort of a national presentation and I can't afford to go to whatever conference, or I missed the sign up for that one. We will put it together and put the name of the network behind it so that you get tenure credit if you're on a tenure track line, or you get praise for your university if you're not. We really just want to help you all learn what you need to know with the Online Institute.
So one of the benefits of members are we hold virtual monthly IDS forums. It is just a Zoom. We're all there and we're chit-chatting. It has grown every single month and we're up to about over 40 people, I think was our highest. And again, it's one of those areas that someone goes, oh, my printing isn't working. Why? Share your screen. We'll walk you through it. Somebody else will be like, oh, I see you have a period in the wrong place, or, switch that out. And then it works. So it's just that sense of community where we can just discuss things once a month and it's coming. So we have it's set. And then you can be like, I got questions. And when I tell you the discussions we have had, this is probably one of the greatest things we've recently started. We've done it for 2 semesters, 2, I think, now in the academic calendar. And I tell you, it's relieving to be there just to, you don't have to send an email. You don't have to try to figure it out on your own. You could just talk through the steps with somebody.
Now, orientation. This is something that came out of the fact that we were trying to figure out, okay, what should we offer next? What's the next thing we could do? And then the peer advisor said, I have to go back to the beginning because libraries keep changing their staff. People move around, people move into ILL. The person who was there 20 years left ILL, and now the new person has no idea why things work the way they do. In my library, we just hired in the past 2 years 2 new ILL people. We hired a new clerical staff member who had never worked in ILL in her life before. And now she's got to process lending. So I said, you know what? I think this is something we can sort of throw the IDS Online Learning Institute idea on, and let's make an open, free orientation to interlibrary loan. It does include all of the IDS stuff. So if you wanted to know what Logic is and how it works and all the different components there, that's on there. But the main point of it is new staff member starts on Monday and you realize they don't know anything about ILL. And you're trying to remember, where do I start and what do I need to tell you?
While processing everything at the same time for your daily counts.
Right? So it walks you step by step. It has acronyms in it. It has the saved videos of our major presentations. It talks about where to find other presentations that we've had, sort of how to problem solve and troubleshoot. There we go. And again, we haven't heard a lot of feedback on it, but the directors that we shared it with were very excited about it. I don't know how many of you have never heard of it before, and now you're like writing it down and you're going to take it back and you're like, I got to check that out when I get home. Good, go for it. Let us know what we're missing, please. If you see something in there and you're like, that's old information, let us know. Or you think something should be added to it, send an email and we will get it added and updated. Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the future and where we think we're going to go. Crosslink. Okay. This is what we're developing. It is out and being used by BLC right now, but it still needs a little more development before it's really ready to go fully live. But it's a middleware solution that allows for discoverability and availability lookups across multiple cataloging systems and provides a connection between the borrowing and lending libraries' resource sharing systems, regardless of their type. So it will run on ISO 180626. I think I got that number right, or it's just 18626. It's the ISO stuff. And it's a brokering system that basically sits in the middle and will work with a bunch of different library types. And as libraries are migrating catalogs, and I know one of the things we have in SUNY is like Alma takes care of a lot of our resource sharing now. And so that's all happening in between. And so some of our smaller community colleges, I'm talking like the ones where like their entire community college is the size of this building, because in New York, we have 64 campuses because it came to power under Rockefeller when there was lots of money. So there were lots of different community colleges. And now as everyone's budget is having problems, some of them are going to just Alma-based resource sharing and only seeing what they can get in the system. And unfortunately that, works if you're there, but doesn't always work for every situation. So it's going to facilitate communication between us and you. So external interlibrary loan systems. Its purpose is the routing and processing of resource sharing requests. So it adds in that processing piece. It will do like lookups. It is a bridge. It translates it out of one system into another, and it will hopefully expand resource sharing reach, reduces manual handling, and improves turnaround time. Because that's really why IDS started, was how can we make this quicker? And we all just agreed way back in 2003, let's get a book to each other in a week. Let's do that. We still joke in New York that it is a giant state, and everyone thinks that when I say I'm from New York, I'm from New York City. I am much closer to Niagara Falls. We both are in New York, and we're like a 6-hour drive from each other. But we joke that whenever a package has to go through New York City, it takes a vacation to Bermuda.
7 to 10 business days, add on a little for the holidays.
Yep. And then it finally ends up.
And we have our own courier system.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk
things
about
I
that.
don't miss. Things I don't miss. So it is coming. That's it for us and just about what we're doing. We would like to know what the cool things you're doing, collaboration-wise, that you're doing with other libraries, what you'd like to see, that type of things, and any questions you have.
Yes. All right. I will be reading questions from the Whova Q&A out loud. Before I get to that, do we have any questions from our in-person audience before I move over to that?
Got one.
Logan will be his own mic runner.
All right, so our main campus IT is tinfoil hat paranoid, and
I like that.
it is not mine, it is my associate dean's. So we have not used IDS Logic because they don't want anybody touching our servers. We're still self-hosted. We will likely continue to be self-hosted until they make us not be. Is Crosslink something that y'all are gonna have to get into our servers for, or is it something that we can manage?
I believe it's going to work through APIs. So we won't have to install, I don't think, but again, it's in like alpha right now, but I will definitely bring that back.
We're very interested.
Okay.
Right on. All right. We'll move to a question online. Really, really, really hard one. What does IDS stand for?
Oh gosh, what does it stand for? I don't share. No, it stands for Information Delivery Services. Just Information Delivery Services.
Right on. Thank you. Any more questions from in the audience before I go back to Whova? Right on. All right. Next question is IDS mostly geared toward academic libraries, or is it adaptable to a public library?
New York Public Library plays the game with us. So there are, we're not here to talk about the business end of it, but it is open to any library, no matter how big or small.
Right on. Thank you. Any more questions come up from the audience? Right on. I'll go back to Whova. So Alias piqued my interest. Is there an Alias ebook licensing information availability service?
Not yet. You want to write that one down, Kristen? So that's how things happen with the project or the network now, is that somebody will say something like, what about ebook licensing? And then we'll sit there in our next admin meeting going, to use Kurt's metaphor, how big of a t-shirt we need for that? And then it's usually like, Andromeda will be like extra tiny small. And we'll be like, really? And they'll say, yeah. And then the next thing we know, that's what they're working on.
Oh, thank you. Any more from the audience before we move on? Right on. The next one is there IDS logic for Rapido?
Not right now. I think the plan is that that type of stuff will come out with Crosslink.
One last question from Huva. Is the peer advisor program for IDS members only?
Yes, that is members only, but the listserv is not members only. So everyone has access to the peer advisors. They just don't necessarily have access to like a direct phone call, right? They could send something out on the workflow toolkit, just like we've always done with ILL-L in the workflow toolkit to say, who knows something about this?
All the listservs that are available and open are on our website under, there's a whole listserv list.
All right, any more questions from the audience? I'm gonna double check who, one more. Oh, all right, going once, going twice. All right. Thank you for attending this session. Please complete the post-session survey in Huva, which you can access from this QR code or the link in the session chat. The link is also in the session description. The NWILL Planning Committee and our presenters appreciate your feedback. If you want to continue the conversation, you can use the chat within this session or the Huva community section. Thank you for attending.
Thank you. Kristen is going up for tenure, so please rate her.